Too Much for Our Own Good by Jack Mandolare, November 2019. Part 2. For Our Own Good. This world is run by psychopaths for maniacal ends. John Lennon. Americans, under corporate rule, are made to think unabashed avarice is the only virtue, a selfless service the only vice. Under the 56-year reign of the greed is good golden calf covenant of all you need is cash in the now global mammon American empire. With the acceptance of unbridled greed as a virtue, our Christian country saw a dreadful decline of sharing and caring that began nearly 20 years after a magic bullet hit Jack Kennedy in the forehead. It was nearly 4 dreary decades ago now, when a money-mad America's Republican government, infatuated with incorporation since Lincoln, decided to favor the rich at the burdensome expense of the rest of us. When Ted Turner invented CNN and the 24-hour news cycle, even the most pressing issues confronting our people's republic became the purview of well-paid corporate lobbyists, and our vital democratic debate became the victim of their fully incorporated wordsmiths, schooled in the new media politics of making political propaganda into talking points and making them sound credible. Eventually, they learned how to convince a gullible American middle class to fear the poor, telling them the poor wanted their stuff. The atrociously avarice apostles of an unregulated cutthroat capitalism's unrestrained commerce and their fear-mongering partners, the impervious disciples of invincible ignorance, and their always duplicitous, often deplorable, pretend promise of an ever-expanding economy, successfully fooled the working poor into believing that blindly magnanimous government pandering exclusively to the well-heeled, well-situated, well-connected 1% is good for America. They waved the flag in our faces while they waged a war of blatant defiance of Congress, traded missiles for hostages, and passed the first of a great many incredibly magnanimous corporate tax cuts given unto the most profitable enterprises of their political supporters from the mindlessly generous hand of President Ronald Reagan. While spending taxpayer money like drunken sailors, while blaming their political opponents for their own runaway deficit spending and preaching the power of prayer, the Reagan administration eviscerated our mental health system. It was just one of the many ways they claimed we would have to pay for their unprecedented corporate largesse. Long after the ruby-red Republicans and their preposterous economics had been thoroughly discredited, those who still revere Ronald Reagan almost as a saint and who enthusiastically support his feckless gorge the rich trickle-down economics have pursued subsequent GOP-supported efforts to hinder access to mental health care for the desperate poor and allow for-profit health insurance corporations to severely limit mental health coverage for our vanishing middle class, or to not cover mental health at all. After all, their more than wealthy customers don't mind paying out of pocket for their therapy, and they are, for the most part, unconcerned about the ever-widening coverage gap for affordable mental health coverage for the rest of us.
I am Lunge the Dinosaur, and I approve this message. Thank you. Let us not go extinct.